And we understand that what prompted the closure of this street and the emergency response we're seeing here all has to do with a report of bricks falling from that spot on the garage that's attached to the Carlton Hotel. We were talking with Tyler firefighters earlier. They were actually telling us to try and step back just a little bit. We understand right now, and based off what we're seeing, that they have traffic blocked off from Broadway down to Spring in front of the Smith County Jail all along Elm Street. As far as pedestrian traffic goes, they've also blocked off the sidewalk that runs right next to Carlton Hotel from Broadway down to Spring. We understand right now, as far as the next steps, that a city inspector is going to have to take a look at this building, maybe some other folks involved in this process as well, and figure out if this building is safe. Check the structural integrity of the building. On the street here, Phil, I don't know if you can zoom in, but we were talking with Cody Grace. He's a gentleman who is very familiar to our viewers. He's run for political office many times, and he owns and operates a business that's adjacent to this building. And what you're looking at on the ground there is what Cody called in this morning. He told us around 9 o'clock he saw this debris on the side of the street. This is right where you would enter if you were driving into the underside of this parking garage, and this debris, he believes, and firefighters believe, came from the area we were looking at up top earlier, where those bricks are dislodged and where you see the cracks in the parking garage. Again, we understand from city officials, the assistant fire chief, that bricks have fallen off this building right now. A city inspector is on their way out to check the structural integrity of the building. And again, we talked with a gentleman earlier, Cody Grace, who operates a business adjacent to the garage behind me. He called his city council person, Lloyd Nichols, around 9 o'clock this morning after he saw that debris on the roadway that we were showing you earlier, looked up and saw those cracks in the brick. As someone who comes through this area frequently every day, I did ask him the question, looking at the parking garage today, what looks different? And he said the cracks that we see in the brick are much larger than he remembers them being yesterday, and he does not remember the debris being on the ground either. And so that prompted him to call his city council person, Lloyd Nichols. And now we see, that was around 9 o'clock this morning, he told me, and we've seen in recent hours the road has been blocked off, the sidewalk has been blocked off. Tyler firefighters are on scene. The Tyler Police Department has been on scene as well. And we understand that inspectors are going to have to take a closer look at the structural integrity of the parking garage. Again, the building we're talking about is not the Carlton Hotel itself. When we first got out here, it was not very clear as to what building was in question. We have since learned that it is in fact the parking garage that's attached to the Carlton Hotel. In terms you're not familiar with the history of this building, if you go back several decades, back to the 50s, into the 60s and the early 70s, this was once a bustling hotel. It really was a gem in the heart of downtown Tyler, something for Tyler to be proud of in all of East Texas. The parking garage behind me, there's a pool on top. It's something that a lot of people have been in awe of for many years. After it stopped being a hotel in the early to mid-70s, eventually it fell into disrepair. Smith County came in. They used it for some time for county offices, the sheriff's office, the pretrial office, and then eventually they moved into their own facilities. And again, this building fell into disrepair. Now, in terms of what was happening to the building at this time in recent years, work has been paused for a few years now after a company out of New Orleans, they're a real estate development group called North, they came in about 5 or 6 years ago, if I remember correctly, and wanted to breathe some new life into this old building. It's something they had done with other historic buildings in the South and across the country in the recent decade or so. They came in, a plan was developed to turn this in to some apartments, and they did some demolition work. We can remember seeing that work happening. They had the big industrial-sized dumpsters out here. They did a pretty good clean out of the building, but they ran out of money, and so work stopped. And so I tell you all of this because in the last several months and really the last couple of years, there has been no work going on at this building. It's been sitting here, it's been vacant, it's been falling into disrepair. And so you talk with the people around here, they keep an eye on this building and they notice the changes. And we did speak with someone earlier, Cody Grace, who works in the area, and he said he very much noticed the changes this morning with the larger, more significant crack in the brick at the corner of the parking garage, and then he noticed that debris along the sidewalk there at the bottom. So in terms of next steps, we understand that city inspectors are going to come out here. They're going to take a closer look at this building, examine the structural structural integrity and figure out what needs to happen next. In the meantime, if you're going to be traveling in downtown Tyler, you're going to want to find a way around all of this. Right now, they've got blockades up at Broadway, at Elm, all the way down. This goes off to the east to Spring that runs right next to the Smith County Jail. The road is blocked off. If you walk downtown, you need to be aware also that they've got pedestrian traffic blocked off along the sidewalk that runs right up next to the Carlton Hotel. And we understand we do have a little bit of an interview we captured just a little bit earlier. Let's listen to that.
So pulled in, I saw some brick fragments on the ground. Didn't think much of it. Went over, came out and inspected it. Looked up, and I see the big crack, and contacted the city council after that. So
12 seconds. Go.
Back here live, it's a watch and wait situation. I was just glancing over my shoulder. We see Tyler firefighters taking a good look at the building. There's been a lot of looking and a lot of pointing at this building, and that's how we figured out earlier when we walked over to one of the firemen and asked, and he said, we're looking at the corner of that building, the parking garage, not the hotel itself, keeping an eye on the structural integrity and figuring out whether or not those falling bricks and those big cracks in the structure are indeed a symptom of something much larger, hopefully not some type of a building collapse. And so again, right now, avoid this area, street from Broadway to Spring in downtown Tyler. We're going to stay out here and try and gather some more information, and we'll keep you updated on East Texas Now, KLTV.com, and we'll break in the programming if the situation warrants. For now, I'm reporting live in downtown Tyler. Blake Holland, KLTV 7 News.